Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show post-game after Game 4 between the Heat and the Nuggets. As always, I'm joined by Andrew Combo Salop to discuss everything that we needed to talk about for this game and the finals and anything else NBA-wise. There's some interesting news perhaps coming up today. Trump was indicted. That was also interesting and exciting. I don't know if you pay attention to that, but perhaps I'll save that for my politics pod, which we already went over today. Excuse me, we dropped the show. But Combo, how's it going, man?
The better team won.
The better team won. That is correct. I think, ready now. I am ready for the series to end. I called it in 5. I didn't think I felt good enough about it, but in reality, that was the reality. This was going to be a 5-game series.
Yeah, I had Denver in 6. I mean, the role players for Denver today, just incredible. We've talked a lot about Bruce Brown in the past and how much we both love his game, but Aaron Gordon, just as a recipient from passers, like he makes any great passer look even better. And when you got the world's greatest passer, you become incredibly dangerous. But he's just like the strength, the athleticism, just everything about him, just incredible. He's not only a star in his role. I would consider Aaron Gordon a superstar in his role.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he really has embraced that and played it to a T. They're running a lot of sort of almost pure triangle actions that might be part of the video for tomorrow as they break it down, because when they get all that, when Murray sets a back screen, then comes around for the handoff and he gets a lot of threes that way or a lot of drives, that is basically the pinch post action out of the triangle offense. And I don't even know why I didn't really recognize it before, but they had another play where, the Gordon, where Gordon kind of ducked in and Jokic threw a pass that was sort of a reverse alley-oop or a reverse pop. That is almost pure triangle the way they ran that. And so that's, there probably isn't. And I sent that clip over to another buddy, Steve in Florida, who's the triangle offense coach. And he's like, is there a better player that would ever fit the triangle better than Jokic? And probably not. Like, he is the Tex winner would have just had it was his dream player to fit into the triangle. So I took some notes. I think, what kind of soured me on the Heat early on, I texted you around halftime, but by the middle of the first quarter, I was like, this game is over. And it was a close game, and they made it really close at the end of the first quarter, and they kept it close until the halftime. But it just seemed clear to me that the Nuggets were able to generate a lot better shots, certainly in that first half. If you wanted to stack up the shot quality from both teams, it wasn't even close. The Nuggets were way ahead. And as a result, they made some mistakes. They threw the ball away a couple times that were bad. And that's what kept them close. They banked in a 3. Lowry banks in a 3. Butler hits a 3 in the corner. That was like, wow. So I thought it was a lot closer than it really was. It wasn't as close as the score indicated for a while.
Jamal Murray didn't have a great first half. Jokic dealt with some adversity with the ankle sprain and the foul trouble. So, I mean, it wasn't even the perfect game for Denver in any type of way, but they still got it done. They're just the better team.
So here's some of my notes I had. Let me turn this. I'm not beeping. So they continue to double Murray off of those handoffs and the pick and rolls. And, Jokic got a 3. They got a couple other shots. It didn't work at all in Game 3. So it was really frustrating that they would continue doing it in Game 4. I don't know what they had seen, what indicated to them that they should continue doing it. Another interesting thing I noticed later on was I'm not sure that the Nuggets had any fast breaks. Maybe a couple, but didn't look to push it. And I think that hurt them. I think that kept the game closer than it needed to be.
Well, they had that big one with the KCP steal, and then Aaron Gordon pushed it and passed it to Murray, I believe, and then Bruce Brown finished. But yeah, in general, that was late. But in general, I think you're right. Are you surprised that the Heat didn't go to more zone or zone at all, shall I say?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The way the 1-3-1 was working, I could see why they didn't want to do that. But why aren't they going back to the 2-3 that worked well in Game 2? This is where I was like, Spoelstra, I was all in. This is amazing. And then this is not a well-coached Spoelstra game. I hate to say it. I don't know if they just sort of figured, that we are outmanned, we are outgunned, and it doesn't really matter what we do. I don't know, because it was very strange. By the way, I'm looking at the fast break points. It has 12 for Denver. But okay, it just seemed weird. There was these long stretches where they got the rebound, they wouldn't look to push. But anyway, but to get back to the zone, yes, I can't even picture them playing zone one time tonight. And it was very strange. And you could argue that it was close. Denver wasn't going crazy offensively, so they didn't need to really switch. But and by the way, a couple times in the game 3, when the Heat switched back to man, a couple guys didn't get the memo. They screwed up their pickup and transition after that, which can happen when you switch back and forth between zone and man. So maybe that's another thing where they thought maybe we don't want to deal with that. So very, very strange all around. You should at least do a little bit of it and give a stretch and see if you can turn the game around like in the third. So yeah, I don't know what was happening on the bench, but on the Miami Heat bench, but it wasn't great, Bob.
Yeah, I think part of it is they don't want to get crushed on the rebounds because it's just harder to find a man box out, in those situations. But you're not the biggest fan of boxing out anyway, right? Or is it just diving?
No, it's the traditional box out where you turn away from the basket and you try to find the guy and you pivot back around. Like that's the problem. If you can't lose track of the ball, you have to have your eyes on the ball. So if you're guarding your guy who's right next to you and you can get your hand in whatever, great. That's what you do that stuff. But do not turn around and find the guy and then try and find the ball. Speaking of which, if you want your questions answered by us, the best way to do that is a super chat on YouTube. It really helps us keep this show going. We give you a lot of love and put your name and your question on the screen. So that would be the best way to do it if you have one. So in case you want, you choose to do that. And we actually have one. Look at this. I missed it in the comments. Let's see here. Here it is. Barth. 3,400. Thank you. Friend of the breakdown, Barth, in Canada, you hoser. Do you agree with Miami living with open Jokic threes? I don't know. What do you think, Combo?
No, the guy shoots 47% from 3. So I would say no. I know it's low volume, but when he's wide open, he's going to knock that down.
And by the way, it's low volume, but it's also a high open, muy open, muy abierto. Because he doesn't shoot them unless he's like standing there wide open and thinks about it for a couple seconds, right? So that's why it's so high. That's great and all, but like a little disruption, and as we saw, can throw him off when you shoot the behind your head. He had an air ball, I believe, run one of them, right, or close to an air ball. When they kind of got up close, like they kind of sat back. Okay, once it gets back behind your head in the slow release, you can then jump out and disrupt that. So. Absolutely, they don't want to live with those. You got to be able to take advantage of the fact that it is a slow release.
Yeah, I mean the guy's unstoppable as we know, and you can't take away everything. So I guess in some form or fashion, it's hard to use the word live with it, right? Maybe you'd rather that than I don't know. Would you rather that than a post up? I don't know, man. He's just like there's no answers for Jokic. That really is the answer, and that's why Steve Kerr went saying like. Let's just not even think about Jokic because there's nothing you could do. The head of the snake is now Jamal Murray, and maybe there's something you could do there, even though he's a star in his own right.
Yeah, fair enough. I would let him have it, but then quickly try to contest at the end there and throw him off. It's certainly better than having him in the high post or the low post, scoring or throwing dimes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he didn't play that well, I don't think. Let me look at the numbers here.
I mean, a not well game for him is pretty well.
Aaron Gordon was the name of the game here, but Jokic was 8 for 19, which is like crazy low for him. Even though he was 3 for 7, he shot better from 3-point land, I think, than he did, at least percentage-wise, than he did from 2-point land, I think. 5 for 12. It's close. 12 rebounds, 4 assists. So they were able to limit his assists, and part of that was he played 37 minutes, which is probably about 4 or 5 minutes, 4 minutes shorter than his normal stint because of those fouls. I thought that was a pretty egregious flop. Referee Chip disagrees vehemently and wants to say that it was a legitimate call on Jokic's fifth foul. Despite the complete flop by Bam, he felt like there was contact down low with the legs and whatever he was doing with the arm. So that should have been a foul. What do you think, Combo?
I agree with you, first of all. And second of all, what do we do with flops now? Shouldn't you get penalized for flopping if it's an obvious flop? Or we're not doing that anymore?
That used to be a thing. I don't know what happened. You got to get that going again. They got to clean this up. Because there was some weird – the calls were a little bit weird. In a way, you started to wonder, okay, are they trying to extend the series? Are they sensing this and they need to get a 6th game out of this? I don't know. Now, by the way, with that in mind, when you have a series that will probably go 5, it kind of gives you – that's the evidence you need that they're not – screwing around with this. They're not trying to extend this. The referees are not making calls with that in mind, so you can kind of put that out of your head. Listen, it's natural to kind of maybe think about it for about 30 seconds and then you realize no, and we would never have a sweep of any series if that was really the case, right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Lakers, how could they have? The referees would never have allowed a sweep, right? They would have made sure that they got a couple of games, but they didn't, and the game was won squarely by the Nuggets.
I think I disagree. I think I disagree with you with the 5 games. I think it's going to go 6.
Oh, you think they're going to get a game in Denver, huh?
I think so. I think 1, and then I think it's over after that.
All right, that's a bold prediction. I think this was the one. I think, but okay, we'll see. We have some more super chats. Let's get to those before I have some more notes too. By the way, I actually was writing some stuff down today. But let's get to the next super chat, which is scrolling. Here we go from Lobster. Love it, and he is Lobster. I am Lobster. Okay, am I missing? Is that a reference to something cultural that I don't know about that you kids are hanging out with?
I don't know, but we really appreciate the super chat. Do you eat lobster, Coach Nick?
I've had lobster, a little dip in a little melted butter. I don't know. Do you dig lobster?
I love it. I don't eat it often, but I do love lobster. Yeah.
I mean, I really prefer surf and turf, so I got to have like little steak next to it. But yeah, who doesn't like lobster?
Yeah, that's fair. It's not kosher though, but it's still good.
It's not kosher. That's absolutely true. But hey, you know what? What isn't? Okay, Joshua Anderson, thank you so much for the super chat. Very generous of you. Great finals, Coach. So fun. So you think the Heat should have gone zone as soon as Jokic went to the bench with 5 fouls? Now, we were seeing that. They were going zone when Jokic would go to the bench. So for sure, like that was their opportunity, and they didn't close that gap at all, right? It was a 10-point game when Jokic went out, and it was 9 points when he came back in, something like that. That was the finals right there, right? If they could have taken control for those 5 minutes and gotten back, taking control of the game, then maybe the whole series can kind of shift a little bit. But, Murray looked exhausted at that point. I think Murray missed a little stint where he would have gotten some rest because he had to stay out there once Jokic had to go out. So that was really rough for him. And yet he still performed. He threw a lob that actually he was so tired. He throws the lob to Gordon, but it was way off. But Gordon still could grab it, collect it. And then I think then he went up and scored, something like that. So there's just too many weapons. There's too many ways to score. The Heat, when they score and when they find success, it's really difficult. It's every ounce of energy they can muster to put the thing together to get the ball in the basket. And meanwhile, the Nuggets come down, a couple pass, boom, and they get layups, they get open threes. So it was really stark, the difference. And you could just do a video on just the shot quality.
Hypothetical question, since these are fun. If Jamal Murray doesn't play the rest of the series, do the Nuggets still win?
Oh, and if Jokic is playing like he's playing, yeah, I think so. I think Jokic is that good. He is that much of a fulcrum, and they're that deep.
I think that's fair.
Now, who gets those minutes then? Who would get the minutes besides
whoever
Murray?
they want? Whoever they want.
Well, yeah. Well, let's just pretend. Let's pretend Murray. God forbid something happened to him. So, who would they start? Brown, Bruce.
Yeah, they would start Brown.
Yeah. Bruce Brown's great, man. He's such a great fit on this team. Defensively, on both sides of the ball, really.
But he's a fit on any team, Coach Nick. Like the guy could play 1 through 5 legitimately.
Why are you mad at me?
Yeah.
Okay, you sound mad at me, but you're right. He is a fit on everywhere. And he wasn't really recruited, right? Right. The Nuggets signed him as an afterthought. I kind of feel like, right? When did he get signed? Bruce goddamn Brown.
The Nets didn't bring him back. I think when they could have. I think he even said that Sean Marks wanted to bring him back, but somebody else didn't. And I think he was throwing shade at somebody, not exactly who, but. Well,
yeah, he signed on July 7th, which is early in the free agency, I think. So I can't remember. Maybe is it earlier now these years, but we'll have to do some research. Maybe somebody in the comments will tell us if it was a thing where he was on the market for several days and no one. But a guy like that, he can shoot a little bit, he can handle the ball, great floater game, and he can D up. Like that's the kind of thing. I know he's not quite 6'7", 6'8", but he plays bigger than he is. And you throw him out there, you throw KCP, Aaron Gordon. That's a very good defensive club. And then, by the way, Jokic was terrific defensively. He was like stripping balls on the way up with his quick hands and causing all sorts of havoc around the basket without even having to get up in the air and contest there.
Yeah, I mean, and he was kicking the ball. I used to do that myself when I played, kick the ball. But to everything you said about Bruce Brown was absolutely correct. And on top of that, he like really played as a short roller for the Nets, like that real small ball 5 position. So
Mhm.
such a versatile player.
Yeah, and the Heat, by the way, again, get great stuff out of the pocket passing to Bam, and it just goes away, disappears. So maybe I was wrong when I thought that they were doing it on purpose and saving it till later. Maybe I don't, you know what I mean? It's like maybe they're not aware of when they're running it or not, and it doesn't seem possible. You can't get the finals without more control of your offense than that. So I don't know, but it's just so strange when you see such great when they do get such great shot quality out of that action, they don't do it enough and they go away from it. It's weird. They did discover something though with the Jimmy Butler post ups though. I think that's something that they needed to have done, from the very beginning, and they didn't do a lot of it early. But the high-low, they go to Bam at the top, the free throw line, and they post Jimmy, and he feed him down there. That certainly is something they should be doing more if that's what's going to unlock Jimmy a little bit. Jimmy ended up being, let me see, how aggressive was he? He was, 25 points, 9 for 17, but they need even more than it from him.
In the modern NBA, totally agree with you. You need your best decision makers posting up. That's always beneficial to your team.
Okay, yeah, and they just need your best player as aggressive as he can be, and that's not been the case. Again, he's injured. They're not telling us why or what. I'm sure that's the only explanation I can have. Even though when he pulls up on that midi from on the pick and roll or whatever, he's getting up, right. It looks like he's getting great lift. So I can't quite figure it out, but I wouldn't. All I could say is I won't be surprised if somehow at some point it comes out that he's getting treated for some injury he was nursing throughout the finals. I don't know. Something is weird. All right, let's get to our next super chat. Thank you so much, Eric W. Thank you. What did you think of the Heat depending on Duncan Robinson and 37-year-old Lowry creating shots in the clutch? At that point, was it really clutch? Because the game was 10, 12, 13, 14 points. I don't even know if we really had clutch. But I think your point stands is why weren't they doing the pocket passing through playing out of the high post with Bam, or low post with Jimmy? Any explanation?
Thanks for the super chat, Eric. I would say it's not ideal, would be my answer. It's not ideal.
Not optimal. Yeah.
Not optimal.
It gets away from you, I suppose, right? And it probably feels helpless. But a lot of assistants, I don't know. Something needs to have been done to get them back into running better offense that they know they can run. Very, very strange. So I wish I had a better answer because again, they have analytics, they have coaches, they have all this information. You just whisper in the guy's ear on the way down, hey, get on the top of the key and get the ball. I don't know.
I think Duncan being aggressive has been good for the Heat in the past when we look back to the bubble and even some games during this playoff run. So I'm not totally mad at Duncan Robinson being aggressive in the clutch.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, speaking of Denver offense, what I love about them is they what was I going to say? I have a workout tomorrow with some guys. You can bet I'm going to work on the sort of slice screen to block and then sprinting up around the big for the handoff for the shot.
Tough shot by Murray, right?
What's that?
That was a tough shot by Murray on that.
Yeah. Well, which one?
The one where he sliced up and hit that deep three when he was somewhat struggling first half. It kind of broke his game open in the second half. Yeah,
and you can tell that's his shot he works on a lot. It's a not easy shot. I'm going to do it with my kids, from 15 or 16. I'm not going to do the pro three, or I won't even do the high school three. I'll just do a midi. But I think we'll eventually get there. And it's just such a hard thing to guard because when you set that first screen as a slice cut or a back screen, your man has to hold for a second or else the cutter will be open generally. And that means you're sprinting around and open. And it's basketball, man. It's beautiful stuff. Love to see it. And thanks, Eric. Let's get to our next super chat. Let's scroll. Where did it go?
I remember. I remember Reggie Miller doing a lot of that, right?
Reggie Miller would definitely sprint up around. Yeah, it's hard because you're going away from the basket, and you got to turn and fire. If you're going to your left, obviously it's better when you're a righty because then you don't have to turn all the way and you're already aligned. But for sure, that's a hard shot. But you know what? The way that skills are being developed more and more. I know high schoolers could do that shot from 20 feet. So, And then I know that, the good shooters in college can do it from 22, whatever their line is. But Ryan Creeps, thank you so much, Ryan. Finals MVP getting tight. Ooh, Jokic or Murray? I don't think it's that tight, do you?
No, I would give it to Jokic. Also, I believe there'll be 2 more games left to go, so we have to see how this series finishes out. It's not early, but there's still more basketball to be played.
Yeah, let's get the numbers out. Let me see if they updated. They may not have the game 4 already in here, but let's just see if we can get them all from. Let's see here, all playoff rounds, finals. Let's see. Oh, let's get this Denver. Okay, so let's see if they have all 4 games in here yet. No, they don't. But through 3 games, it's probably really close, right? In terms of production. So Jokic through 3 was at 33.3 points. Jamal Murray was 26. Okay, and they both shooting pretty well, but obviously Jokic is almost 9 points higher, 8 points, something points higher from field goal percentage. The assists are close. Murray had 10 as averaging 10, while Jokic is 9.3. So and then rebounds, obviously 14 for Jokic and almost 7 for Murray. So I think that Jokic is definitely in the lead, and it's clearly he'll win it if they win it. But you're right. It's a provocative question, and I kind of like it because Murray has been playing great.
Yeah. Also, what Jokic does with the stats, there's even so much more impact beyond that, right? It's not just the stats. It's everything he does, how he connects the team. And obviously his impact is just immense.
Absolutely. Should we get to the next one? All right, let's keep going here. Let's scroll. Oh my God, Daryl, really just best friend of the breakdown and so generous. My goodness gracious, thank you so much. So let's really give him some love for this question. This series between the Heat and Nuggets is starting to look similar to the series between the Heat and the Spurs. Ooh, when LeBron last played in Miami. I also wish that the Heat would move on from Bam. Ooh, because he is frustrating to watch. Wow, that's well, I don't have. I need like bullets, shooting overhead. I guess maybe that's too violent.
Bow. How's that?
But shots fired. My goodness gracious. I don't know. Let's go backwards on this one. Bam. Do you really feel like they should move on from Bam?
Me personally, I don't. I think there's some things that Bam could do differently, though. Like I think he could roll to the rim harder and stronger at times. And I think he could be more aggressive at times, but he's been pretty aggressive in this finals. No, I wouldn't move off from Bam. And also, he's prime age. Like, this is not the time you'd want to move off an all-NBA big man, right? That, puts you in a position to be in the finals. They might just need to add some pieces around the edges in the offseason. I definitely would agree with that.
I mean, I'm thinking maybe they need a real big man, like a legitimate 7-footer. Maybe they could play alongside him for stretches and then take that, because maybe that's part of it. Defensively, he's just so undersized against, the bigger centers. It's like there's not a lot he can do. Now, a post-up game he needs to fix. There's moments, but then it's not consistent, and there's times when he really just misses easy shots they shouldn't be missing.
Maybe Nurkic could come with Dame.
Okay, yeah, Nurkic and Dame, and then they give up like Duncan Robinson, and this is a trade, I'm assuming, right?
I mean, I feel like it was all over my timeline with Dame to the Heat or something. I don't know. I just kept.
It's always like somebody to the Heat. They always throw that in there, right? It's like when Simmons talked about going to the Celtics. But I don't know. I mean, listen, Lowry is they need to upgrade Lowry probably at some point. He played well. He played nicely. He's doing some things, but he's also. Every day that goes by, he's a little bit older. I love you, Kyle. I really do. But I do feel like if I was a businessman, I was in the front office of the Heat, I would say his position is the one I want to upgrade. The Bam is interesting. Bam, because of the development they have, if he doesn't show it by next year, then I don't know what to make of that, because the Heat development should be better for him around the basket and this moves. But let's just touch upon the first part of Daryl's question or his comment, which was that the Heat and Nuggets is a little bit like the 2014 Heat Spurs. Do you feel that way a little bit?
In what way?
I mean, obviously,
in what way?
Well, okay, the Spurs and the Nuggets are both like supreme offensive movement, and they have fun stuff
That's
like
fair.
that going. Yeah. And the Miami just can't defend it. They can't keep up the intensity. Sort of. I mean, I suppose if it goes at 5, then it really might feel that way. But it's just weird because of having LeBron, having Wade, Bosh. It doesn't feel the same.
Was Miami like decentralized, free flowing offense when those guys were there?
Yeah, no, I think it's more like a results based comparison. I feel like
Okay.
but also maybe the same sort of resistance is futile. Like doesn't feel like they have anything to offer. And I think by game 3, the Heat probably felt that way too. Like they just couldn't beat them. I mean, listen, they shouldn't have beat him in 2013. That coming back in 2014 was sort of that same. Like all those issues were still there. Yeah.
Coaching, if this game goes 5, like how you think, don't you feel like this was an A+ season for the Heat?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, here's the thing: they were number 1 in the conference last year, right? They came in, expecting to be just as good again, and they really didn't. They really weren't for a lot of different reasons, I suppose. And one of them it was that they couldn't shoot. All of a sudden they lost their 3-point shooting. So it's an interesting question, right? Because considering they were in the 8th seed and they got to the finals, amazing. That's a terrific result. But if you want to go a little bit farther out and you realize that they were coming off of a great season the year before and getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and losing, they lost that one in 7 games, right? To the Celtics.
I think so.
And they came back and beat the Celtics in 7. So, it might be, about where they needed to be or what we expect. So it's an interesting question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple teams that, it's championship or bust for a bunch of teams, but I'm not sure if it was like that for the Heat.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me just do one thing while we're talking. I have some notes I just want to go over real quick, but let me just do this. And okay. So here are a couple other notes I wrote down. So the post up for Jimmy was been working, the high low from Bam. The roll to Bam continued to work best for them, and it disappeared. KCP continues to foul stupidly. That was another note I wrote. Man, what's going on with him? He's much smarter than that. I don't know why he keeps getting stuck in these weird positions where he's fouling for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know why either. He did make some great plays today, though. Made some threes, and then that steal was huge because Jimmy had an advantage on him, and then he just dug in, got on the floor, started the fast break, and it ended with a layup for Brown.
Well, before he dug it out, he knocked the ball clean out of Jimmy's hands. But then why does Jimmy recover and then bring it down between his feet? I don't understand why he did that. And there's the only way that they knock it free.
So something with muscle memory, because you're not thinking about that kind of stuff. I think when you're like in the middle of a, scrum.
Yeah. But I mean, there's another Jimmy shot near the left sideline that KCP kind of ran into him, and you just can't be. Oh yeah, there was 1 second on the shot clock. You can't get in those positions like that. You have to know where you are, know where your body is, and not collide with people.
Do you work on post work with a lot of players, and if you do you work on keeping it high at all times, because it's such a difficult skill to get over time, but it really helps, as we see with Jokic.
When I have done it, I have certainly worked on not bringing it down. But I don't do a whole lot of the post stuff these days. I mean, the biggest thing I like to do for post moves, and if you're out there and a coach and want to do this, is I think I did a video, but maybe I'll do another one where you want to attack on the catch, just like you do on the perimeter. And so I've been drilling, splitting your feet in the low post on the catch, and it's devastating. You get all sorts of amazing stuff that, you wouldn't get by catching, turning, dribble, trying to get by your man. So that's my new thing now, is being quicker to get sort of attack. And then that kind of, you lose, the notion of keeping the ball high isn't really as in the forefront at that point. We were just working on the feet and getting the shot off before the defense is ready.
Can you reverse pivot off a split catch?
Yeah, because if you land with both feet at the same time, either foot is your pivot foot.
You mean almost like a jump stop?
It's a jump stop, but your feet are split. So you know how on the perimeter, when you split to go, you're 1 foot forward, and that's the direction you're going to drive in. Do the same thing. So it's like a jump stop. I mean, I'll show you. So if I'm going to post up here, okay, let's see if you can get far enough. So if I'm posting up, and then the ball, the basket behind me, I can catch and go like this. Like I can go, and then I'm gone. I'm doing a drop step on the catch because for so long, if you're dribbling, and you try and do the drop step, and you can never get your foot below him. And then when you go like this, now you're under the basket, you can never get a good shot. So when I do it now, and you're a little higher up, you can feel where the guy is. You can, split with 1 foot back, and now you're going right away. But here's the thing: if I show a drop step to the baseline like this, I can still go like that and do a fadeaway or do a turnaround jump shot. You know what I mean?
So you have to make that decision and feel out the defense before you catch the basketball. Number two is your audio is still really good when you're all the way back there.
Yeah, well, I got a good boom mic. So, yeah, I can get all the way back here, I guess. But, yes, good. And plus, I made sure to project a little bit more when I got farther away. But here's our next super chat. Thank you so much, Cardio. Great name, Cardio. Coach, what's happened with Butler? Does he look injured? Is it mental or just good defense? Kind of strange. Celtics and Bucks weren't able to guard the Heat like this with good personnel. Like I said earlier in the show, I just think like there's got to be something, if it's maybe a back injury, because it can't be an ankle, because it looks like he's elevating pretty well on those jump shots. But he doesn't, even his whole demeanor in his face seems very much like stoic, almost like, is he keeping something in? So I don't know. There's something different, something off with this. It's not the same Jimmy. It's consistently enough. Sometimes he posts up or he pulls up and he hits. It's like, yes, that's the Jimmy, but then he disappears for a while, and they need much more. They need him to get into the upper 30s, I think, to compete.
I think things haven't been the same since the Knicks injury, when the Heat almost won that game, actually, that he didn't play. But I'm sure if you ask Jimmy about it,
it was an ankle, right? Remind me.
Yeah, it was an ankle. But I mean, like, he's not going to make any excuses, So it is what it is. Everybody's injured at this point. Jokic might have an ankle at this point.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
And it wasn't even that bad. The Jokic roll, I thought, was not that severe. So luckily.
Did you not think so? I thought with all that weight, it was kind of tough, and it was kind of like on top of it too, a little bit.
Right. Well, you're right, because the toe was pointed a little bit, but it just didn't feel like he rolled it far enough to like tear anything. Right. It looked like a little bit of a tweak, and I'm sure they'll treat it and he'll be fine. And they have an extra day off in between games. They'll be home. So yeah, I mean, and we saw he seemed fine. I mean, he hit that that really deep three. And by the way, he doesn't nearly jump anyway. After he hurt when he came back in. But that was one of those ones where I was like, okay, that seems to me like, this is, he feels balanced enough, at least with that ankle.
I felt like he wasn't attacking closeouts quite as much.
That's interesting. That actually feels true as well. He was a little bit off after that. And then the fifth foul was a thing too, where he might've been a little bit tentative. So the refereeing was a little bit weird tonight, all around. But that can happen. Scott Foster game. But thank you so much, Cardio. I think it's another one from Cardio, back to back. My goodness, thank you so much, Cardio. Thank you, so generous. I can't even believe it. Coach, if you can pick two teams from any era for a series, which would it be? I'd pick 96 Bulls versus 17 Warriors, or 17 Warriors versus 01 Lakers. Okay, well, now I got to put on my my other hat here before Chris comes in. Let's see here. If you can pick two teams, well, what do you think, Combo? Do you have any?
I'm going 93 Bulls for 17 Warriors. I like that too.
Yeah, look at you. You're the guy that wouldn't say the Beatles are your favorite band either, probably.
You're saying I'm trying to be like the true Hooper or something?
Can you name the starting five of the 93 Bulls?
BJ Armstrong, okay. Horace Grant.
Well, then you got the other two.
Jordan Pippen and Bill Cartwright.
Yeah, that's right. I believe Cartwright was still starting at that point. Shoot. Am I off? Because it was Wennington, Cartwright, and Purdue, I believe. Is Purdue still there? Wait,
Combo does not have any other screens back here or anything. Just know that. Combo got that right off the bat. All right.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure it was Cartwright too, because I know Paxson went to the bench and Armstrong started. So let's see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly 96 Bulls would be fun against anybody. And then that's certainly that 17 Warriors team. Yeah, that would be really, really good. I probably would like to see that. The 01 Lakers would be tough, because you'd want to have maybe the 60s Celtics or something, where they had Bill Russell against Shaq, because otherwise, or maybe one of the Wilt Chamberlain teams against that. Maybe the 72 Lakers versus the 01 Lakers. That could be interesting. Jerry West.
This is a great question, because this could be a whole podcast. Like if you did the top five that you could think of, it would. Yeah. And even though Jerry West by 72 was broken down, I don't think he finished the season. But if you could find some mix and match in there with a Wilt and Jerry, they never were together in their primes. And again, those 60s teams wouldn't match up with skill wise, but if you made them train for a few months, they would catch up pretty quick, I think. But great question, Cardio. Thank you so much. Let's get Chris in here. Oh, come back, Chris. What's going on, my man?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, all right. What's happening? Yeah, what do you feel like? Are you happy or sad from the results?
I'm happy.
He's a Celtics fan, even though you're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Celtics fan.
Right.
It happened the way that I kind of thought it would. The Heat only made, if I'm not mistaken, they made 8 threes. So that's the story of the game. If they're not making threes, they can't win. It's as simple as that.
Well, yeah, but
They
they made
made
6 more the other game and lost. Or
Yeah, exactly. And the most they made was 17 and they won by 3. So it just kind of goes back to that. If they're not hitting a high clip of threes, then how can the math the math isn't going to work itself out. Like there's no
right.
way.
I agree. Now, do we know what the paint points were yet? I don't know if it's come out. But
48 to 46, not that bad.
wait, where do you see that?
ESPN.
Oh, okay. 48, so it was almost even, huh?
Yeah.
And they got blown out anyway.
But because of the Denver hit 14 threes.
That's right. Now that we finally went back to what my numbers have been saying this whole time. Is that if you make that many more threes, you're going to win 80-some% of the time.
Exactly.
They proved it out, certainly. I mean, it's just a better team. And by the way, within the first 6 minutes, I knew they were going to win the game. And you can, if you don't believe me, trust me. I texted you, Combo, a little bit later than that, but I wrote it down in my notes. I don't know if it's timestamped. It just seemed like that. But I think part of the reason was as soon as I started seeing them double Jamal again off of these handoffs, I was like, what the hell are they doing? It's, Jokic is wide open every time on those. And even when they rotated properly with Gabe Vincent, I could picture it going to the left. Jokic barely got it off, but he got the pass to the corner, and was it Brown? I think hits the three, maybe the right corner. Jokic kind of like got the ball, or maybe it was Gordon, somebody. I mean,
Gordon had like three this game, right?
Gordon had 3 for 4. Yeah, and that was big because he's not a great 3-point shooter, but yeah. All right, well, let's get to another real quick. So we have James Connor. Thank you so much, James. Do you think that Bam is too short to match up against the elite centers? This is interesting. I mean, I've already mentioned this. I know that he's outstanding, but it seems like elite bigs have always been 7 feet. I think it's a problem. I think that ultimately there's nothing you can do to overcome 4 or 5 inch height deficit.
I mean, with Jokic, though, there's nobody who could guard him, no matter if you're 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay, I suppose. So you might as well get all the good stuff from Bam on the offensive side and then get whatever you can get.
Yeah, I just don't know who else would make the difference in this series in terms of having a center.
Yeah. Now, you know what? That's actually a really good point. Because
maybe Embiid.
Right. Embiid against Jokic is obviously always the fun matchup.
Mm-hmm. But Bam is good because he's versatile. He can guard on the perimeter and he can somewhat guard certain bigs. Obviously, Jokic is a bad matchup for anyone, but any other center, Bam, it wouldn't be a problem for Bam to guard. So
I mean, Bam is the future center in the league, but up until the point where he can't shoot threes, right? If he could just shoot threes, okay, then now you're talking about a guy who can guard low post players. He can get on the perimeter. He can pass. He can dribble. And if he could, you know what I mean? If he could just develop a little bit more of that shot from the outside, then he could be one of the most valuable players you can have in the league.
I think Wemby will be the future of centers.
Yeah. I'm interested to see his defense and see how it translates. I mean, I've seen him block shots that are, no one else could. But, then again, the NBA guys are a lot different than what he's going up against right now.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, that he killed the G League Ignite, and those are good athletes he's playing against.
Yeah. Wait, when did he play against G League Ignite?
Played 2 games back. 2 games back to. Obviously, it's not NBA Finals level. Right. But, I mean, there's some athletes though. There's athletes there.
Yeah. No, there's no question. His size and his athletic ability will translate beautifully, and he should do fine. I think there might be some defensive stuff though, where he might get foul trouble. He might get dunked on a few times. Or bowled out of the way, and he'll figure it out. He'll have to learn. But let's get to another super chat. We got Brian Holiday. Thank you so much, Brian. Is MPJ just not good enough defensively to play down the stretch? yes or no, whatever it is. He's not good enough defensively to play down the stretch. I saw him trying to attack the basket, but he was getting exposed on defense. I was almost ready to throw my phone a few times watching him play defense in the weak side and not know what he was supposed to do. It's a problem, and they're good, they're deep, but he's got to figure that out in a hurry.
The question is MPJ just not good enough defensively to play down the stretch? He is good enough because Denver's about to win.
Well, I don't think he played down the stretch, though.
No, he didn't. He didn't play. I don't think he played the whole fourth quarter.
Do you think they lose this game if he doesn't play down the stretch? If he plays down the stretch?
Oh, no.
No.
Not this game, but in closer games, I would not feel great about him being out there.
It is a great question because he actually was horrible on defense back in the day, and then it got better this season, but now he reverted back to
either that or go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, I guess the off-ball stuff, he still is a little like shaky, but I think he does well, like one-on-one, like when he has to guard Jimmy, like when he gets to switch on Jimmy, I think he guards him well. I think when he gives effort chasing Duncan Robinson or Vincent off the screens at the top of the key, I think he gives good effort and has really good contest because he's 6'10", and he has long arms. Like when he's engaged, when the action is involving him, I think he's a decent defender, but I guess the off-ball stuff where he completely loses his guy and stuff like that, and when to help, when not to, he can be detrimental to the defense.
It's not energy. I think he has good energy most of the time. And he'll swivel, but then all of a sudden he just, and this is the NBA, man. You take a break for a second and a half, you're going to get burned, at least in the finals. You probably wouldn't get burned a lot of the time if you're playing against the bottom half of the league, who they're not cutting. They don't read that way, or the passer doesn't see him open until it's too late. So I think that might be why you can kind of get by and look a lot better than maybe you are. And then when you get to like this version, the finals, when the team's moving a lot like the Heat can do or the Kings or the Warriors, then you get exposed where you weren't getting it before because the other team just simply wasn't going to take advantage of that. So it could be part of that too, because I don't think you get good and then get bad on defense again. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think, I don't think that that he just suddenly stops paying attention on the weak side where he had been before. You know what I mean? You don't get like hot on defense and get cold. I just feel like he might just been a little bit more lucky that it wasn't being exposed. But it might be worth going back and checking a little bit to see, for that kind of stuff.
I feel like people get hot on defense sometimes when their offense isn't doing well and they feel like they need to focus on the defensive side more.
Well, what does that mean? Like they're just like really aggressive trying to get steals and that kind of thing?
Well, I think so. Yeah. I mean, more effort because I feel like some players, they want to stay on the court. So they're going to focus a little more on defense if the offense isn't working.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It feels like if you're on defense, you should be focusing on defense. I don't know, but I hear you. But yeah, there's something about MPJ where he just starts to turn his head and the guy cuts and now he's a step and a half late. And again, you can get away with that with the height and the length that you said, Chris, but not against like Duncan Robinson. He's going to get you. He'll get you up in the air and then one dribble. And he ain't going to miss a lot of those. I probably should work on that with the kids tomorrow too. It's a shot fake, one dribble, sidestep pull up because that's such a, devastating move.
From three? From
What's
three?
That?
From three?
From three. From the 19-9. All right. We have another super chat, I think. We have a few more. Let's see here. Where we leave off? Brian Holiday. So we have wait, where did Ven go? Wait. Oh no, I'm way behind. The Drew Show. Thank you so much, Drew, the man with the plan, the best friend of the breakdown. Thank you. Jimmy, you're in Miami. Get with LeBron's chemist. Oh, no, and get squared away. Coach, it's time to talk about what the Heat can do next year. It's a wrap. It is certainly a wrap. I do not advocate for Jimmy going to get steroids or any kind of PEDs in Miami. Yeah, what can the Heat do next year? We started to discuss a little bit of it. Like, would they want to? They need to upgrade Lowry. I think they certainly need to upgrade Zeller. That's the first thing on the top of the list I would do. What do you guys think?
I think that they should probably package Duncan and Hero and try and get another star somehow. And I don't know if that's enough anymore.
Right.
But Duncan's value is probably a little higher now than it was. Right? Because he was out of the rotation at one point.
Yeah.
But that contract is still
high on him.
Yeah,
I mean,
that kind of,
he proved he could help a playoff team. Again.
Oh yeah.
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 That
Again.
90 mil though, like I feel like you can find that same production or something close to it for much less though, right?
Is that what
So you,
Robinson got ultimately?
It was 90
so
mil, right?
so you
Yeah, I
think
think so.
so you think he's untradeable when you package Hero with him?
Um, I think you
Uh,
probably have to add something
you're not gonna
else.
get a star for that, right?
Yeah, you're not. I
What
think
kind of draft capital do they have? That's an
didn't
interesting question.
they traded most of it for the Lowry, right? Or was Lowry a free agent?
We can check. I'm looking at
No, it was a
Robinson's
trade. It
salary,
was a trade for Achua. No, it was a trade. Yeah, it was a
right?
trade.
And
So like Robinson's
Strus
salary
is a free agent.
year 18-1, 19-4, and then 19-8. You know what? I mean, if he got to a situation where he's on a team where he was starting, that's a pretty good value for a starter that could shoot threes as well as he can.
He
Plus,
would
the way he's been putting the ball on the ground and then dishing, like that's a revelation for me. Maybe I missed it earlier this year or whatever, but like the fact that he could do that now, if you got into a team where he could start and get his 30 minutes, 20 million is a great deal for that.
he could help the Bucks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams he could help. You don't think he could help the Bucks?
I
With
think
that-
they have Grayson Allen. I think Grayson Allen is better than.
Oh
They-
wow! You
Yeah.
think Grayson Allen's better than
No,
Duncan?
but he's a different player.
I think Grayson Allen would play more than Duncan Robinson if you switched them.
Grayson Allen isn't a movement shooter like Duncan. They're like like Grayson Allen's
Well,
better.
they
with
don't
the
really
pass.
use him. They don't really use him like that in that way, right? He's
that's
more
what-
weight. Just
That's what I'm
stay in the
saying.
corner. Yeah,
That's what-
yeah. They are different players.
He's a different player. Yeah.
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 I mean, I would like to see him. I mean, if I
Who's
would
like
to see-
he's
yeah,
more like
go ahead.
he could be used like Kevin Herter with the Kings, but for the Bucks.
Well, I think he's actually like a bigger JJ Redick kind of light. JJ Redick light.
Robinson?
Yeah.
Oh, I might almost say that it's really Grayson Allen might be more Reddick because Allen, you don't really want him dribbling the ball too much and all that stuff, right? Whereas Robinson,
Well, JJ is a way better shooter than Grayson, but Grayson handles better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Grayson had to initiate offense for Duke for 3 years. Like he definitely can dribble better than
Redick?
I think. Yeah, than
Yeah,
Redick
yeah.
and Robinson.
Yeah, okay. I still don't feel great about it, but okay.
Yeah, obviously not to that obviously level, but I think he's serviceable.
Yeah, but is it any better or better than what Robinson's been doing in the half court?
I think it's just as good or better,
All
in
right.
my opinion.
Yeah.
The good thing about Robinson is he doesn't need the basketball.
What?
Yeah.
The good thing about Robinson is he doesn't need the basketball. Like he fits with stars really well, I think.
For sure. Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
got size. He's I think he's a legit 6'8", right?
Yeah, I would say his gravity is probably better than Allen's also.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, listen,
guy-
Grayson shot 40% from three, so it's not pretend. And the year before he was 41, so it's not like he's not nailing a lot of shots for his whole career from behind the three. So but it's just distinctly different. It's an interesting comparison. I mean, there's a host of teams he could go to. He could go to like Phoenix. I don't know.
Do you guys feel like that with these Heat guys that other teams might not be confident that they'll keep up their level of the play, not being in Heat culture?
I think you should be wary based off the history, right, of those players. Tyler Johnson, Deion Waiters. I don't know if you can count Deion Waiters.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as a Heat culture guy.
Hassan Whiteside, kinda.
Nah,
Nah, Hassan.
All right. All right, let's get to our next super chat. We got a bunch to catch up to. So JaMychal Green, I'm not sure it's the JaMychal Green, but it's a JaMychal Green. So thank you so much. What's smoother, Jokic's game or me after using Manscaped? We use my code D-Ball for 80% off the lawnmower 4.0. I wish I could get you 80% off. All I can tell you. Did anybody see the ad I just did for Manscaped, by the way?
Yeah, you started talking about Jamal Murray's beard.
Among other things, but I think I snuck a line in there that maybe people didn't realize, and maybe they did. They didn't want to say anything. One comment did though about him, and some other video that had come out about him. But nonetheless, we all forget, right? Things just go and they happen. We forget about them. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with that. So JaMychal, thank you so much. But what would be smoother? I suppose if you really use Manscaped properly, then you would be smoother than Jokic's game, because Jokic isn't always so smooth, right? He gets it done, but it ain't like the smoothest thing. Maybe Jokic could use some Manscaped. I don't know. We had. By the way, is it Murray? No. Yeah, I think it's Murray. I saw some clips of Murray like from a couple of years ago. He's got serious chest hair, and then now he doesn't at all, right? He clearly has been waxing or something, the chest.
I think his nickname on the team is like werewolf or something.
Right.
Something like that.
And so I'm pretty sure it was him. And so he must have taken that to heart and now got some waxing going on, because you don't see any of the hair anymore, which is cool. I think that works for me. But at any rate, so, good question. Provocative. To Michael Green, thank you so much. Let's get to our next one. Brian Holiday, again, thank you so much. The double, he's got a double super chat going. Thank you. Also, what do you think of Miami's perimeter defense? They are physical and give great effort. They have defended Denver the best in the playoffs. They certainly are physical. I mean, did you notice Caleb Martin takes a foul? Like, it was a fourth foul. It wasn't the fifth. I'm like, okay, at least they didn't put him in the bonus, but it was, and maybe the second quarter, it just knocked into Murray, let him know he's there, right? I guess one of those playoff fouls.
I like those.
There's an effect there. Sometimes you can wear guys out that way. So I think that they're doing as well a job as they possibly can.
Yeah, and I think they do a great job of getting back in transition and finding their man, because that's always the first step to great defense. Even Coach Nick, earlier in the show, you were talking about how you didn't notice a lot of transition points, and it might not be that Denver isn't pushing it. It's just the Heat's ability to get back and get to their men.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually going to do a quick I'm curious about Denver's offensive rating across each round of the playoffs to compare it to see how they're doing against the Heat. So let's just do it this way. In the first round, the Nuggets were 117.2. In the second round, the Nuggets were 120. Wow. In the conference finals, the Nuggets were 120. And then in the finals, they are currently, there might only be, there's 4 games, 117.9. So, okay, it is the lowest by a hair, I think, right? Or by a point. So the Heat are having some effect comparatively. That's some serious scoring that the Nuggets have been doing all playoff long.
Were you doing offensive
rating?
Offensive rating?
Yeah.
You said it's the lowest in the series, or for each of their past?
117.9 would be the lowest, but it's close because they were. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. In the conference finals, they were. You know what? 122.3. In the semifinals, maybe I didn't hit the button all the way. 120 and then 120. So yeah, it's about a point and a half, whatever, lower than the next one, and that's something. So yeah, the Heat are having an effect for sure, but it's not enough.
Let me ask you: so far, do you think the Heat have played Denver better than the Timberwolves played Denver?
Well, the Timberwolves played them the best, right? So
you think so?
That's a really good question.
Timberwolves played good.
What did the Timberwolves do that worked better?
Anthony Edwards went off.
I mean, it was also a 5-game series, so it wasn't like it's going to go it went any longer.
Right? Yeah,
true.
And the Nuggets won by 30.
So wait, how much did the Nuggets win each series? The first one was 5. What else was there?
No, the Phoenix was 6 games, but
it was 5, 6, and sweep.
Mm-hmm.
So Phoenix
people don't really,
But weren't they up 3? Wait, were they up 3-0? Let's see. Nuggets were up 2-0, 2-1. Oh, it was 2-1. It was 2-0, 2-2, and then 4-2.
Mm-hmm. But people don't think.
Blowouts.
Yeah, that Phoenix series is weird because people think like Denver just still won handily, even though it went 6. No one's really worried, kind of thing.
Well, then did the ball go down? Am I forgetting this?
And then they got completely blown out in Game 6 again, like historically. Well, the Suns did. So
yeah, it was not good. Yeah. Chris Paul didn't play in the last 4 games, but again, as watched as it was. So I don't know how much that would have mattered. But you're taking out a starter, in the series. That's in the middle of a series. It's not easy. But yeah. All right, let's get to another super chat. Then we have Ven. Thank you, Ven. Thank you so much. Great to see you again. What positions do you guys play when on the court? Oh, that's an interesting question. How about you, Chris?
A combo guard.
Combo guard. Okay. What about you, Combo?
No pun intended, huh? I played the 1, 2, and 3 throughout the course of my career.
Okay, the traditional 1, 2, and 3. All right. I was the point guard. I was the coach on the floor. I was like
Makes sense.
yeah. Well, I tried to play like Steve Nash, but I probably should have played like Steve Kerr. I think is how I would put it. I would I would have been better, but I was actually a really good passer. I just didn't handle the ball as well as I needed to be like a Nash, but I could shoot the crap out of it. So yeah, that's all. But I was always that guy who was like, get everyone in position. Okay, let's set everybody up. Let's get them going. I knew when this guy needed to get a shot off. That kind of thing. That was always.
So I got a question for both of you. When's the last time you guys played 5-on-5?
10 years at least.
5-on-5 probably last year, but I play like 4-on-4.
What, half
at least
or
like
full?
half once a week.
That's an LA Fitness.
Almost.
That's an LA Fitness thing. 4-on-4 half.
I got to do that. If I ever got back, I would have to do 4-on-4 half. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know what's great? 3x3. 3x3 is great.
You mean the legit 3x3 rules and everything with the shot clock and whatever? Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Sure.
I'd love to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Van. Let's get to Nick Rossi. Thank you so much, Nick. What happened to K Love? Wouldn't he have helped? I looked at his numbers. He got
well.
He ended up playing 18 minutes. I don't think that's that much less than he normally would have gotten, right?
No, I think he gave him really good minutes. He
had a DMP game 1, right?
Well, yeah, but not in this series, right?
Let me.
Maybe the first game.
Yeah, game 1. Yeah,
first game. You're right. First game. And that was probably a huge mistake by Spoelstra. And we saw this happen with the Lakers against Denver, where the Lakers kept their starting lineup from the last 2 games from the game before, and they realized very quickly at Vanderbilt, I think, or what was it? I forgot this. Whatever it was, it's just a dumb mistake. They didn't match up well, but they kept it. Same thing with the Heat. They needed to have started Love right from the beginning. But he played 22 minutes in game 2, and then he played 16 minutes in game 3, and then he played 19 minutes tonight. So I think he was normal minutes tonight, right?
Yeah, he just keeps getting hunted though, so there's only so much you could play him.
Yeah,
Murray literally motioned everyone away. Was like, no.
Yeah,
Kevin, look, come here.
I'm the daddy. Yeah.
You ever see that? You ever see that meme? You ever see that meme where they're like, when your girlfriend's watching you play, the guy's like,
yeah.
It's like that's what he does when he sees.
That's what he does when Love's in the game.
Yeah. Okay. You have to send me that meme. I don't know it.
Chris, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
All right. Let's get. So that's what happened. So Kevin Love, I don't think anything happened to him. I think that he was getting hunted. He got his normal minutes. He hit 3 for 5 from 3. But at some point, he's just they needed better defense, and they weren't going to get it from him. Let's get to our next one, and let's see here. Oh my God, let me scroll down a little farther. Okay, JaMychal Green is back. Thank you so much, Mr. Green. Interesting bit. Bol was drafted in 2019 by the Heat and traded to the Nuggets. Now on neither of those teams. Who in 2019 are you building around, Zion or Ja? I'm not building around Zion. I'll tell you that.
He's trying to get us into a conversation. Are you in? He's definitely trying.
Yeah, that was a sneaky question.
Wait, why?
Because he's trying to get us talking about Zion right now, or Ja.
But why bring up Bull? Like, so random.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I guess there's 2 separate thoughts he wanted to cram into the one super chat, so that's fine. Okay, because Bull is with the Magic now, I think, right?
Yes, and he actually played pretty well for them, I think, this year. He surprised me.
Yeah, no, he is been Wembanyama, but we've already seen what Wembanyama's going to look like a little bit, I think, and that's him. I saw him play against the Clippers when I was there for whatever game that was, and he was like, just doing the guard stuff at that height. It's crazy. But I'm not building around Zion because I don't think he's going to ever get healthy enough to do that. And then Ja, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. What do you guys think?
I think it's up to Ja and up to Zion.
Ja, magnetic thing, poster.
Oh man,
I had to
That's sad.
replace him with Dirk. Or no, maybe I replaced him with Dame. I can't remember which one.
So it really depends on how Zion and Ja want to go forward. It's up to them at the end of the day, but they can still have very successful careers.
I mean, based off the pictures, it looks like Zion has lost some weight. So,
Oh, really?
hopefully, yeah, he looks thinner.
Well,
Speaking of that, I just seen that my friend sent me a picture of Luka. He looks like he's in shape.
really?
Yeah, he posted on.
It must make you very excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what'd you say?
Luka looks like I say combo. That must make you really excited that Luka looks like he's in shape.
Oh yeah. That means he's winning MVP next year.
Yeah, right. All right. But I think we saw Luka like in shape last summer too for a little bit stretch there. We all like ooh, and then
this is different though.
We saw him as Luka Doncic. Was that last summer or 2 summers ago?
That was last summer. But this picture looks legit. Like he actually he shredded the baby fat. Like he looks
like when Kevin Love came in that one year.
No, it's you. Do you remember Jokic in the bubble? Like that first clip of them practicing, like he looked like a Dirk, like he lost all of his weight during the pandemic. Like he just worked out in Serbia or whatever, and just lost all his weight.
He was riding horses. It's a good workout.
Yeah.
All right, we got DTG, and by the way, this show is getting a little long in the tooth, but let's see if we can get through the last of these. This is the last super chat actually so far in the queue. So let's get to it. DTG, thank you so much. Hey guys, thanks for the great live show discussion regarding the Trailblazers offseason. Will they move or keep the 3rd pick or go the 2 timelines path? I think they're going to move Dame, and they'll probably use the pick and pick somebody, right?
Yeah, they'll probably get Scoot Henderson because I believe Brandon Miller
will be gone at 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you think Dame? So do you think this like July 4th is going to be like crazy in the NBA, or do you think this Dame trade could happen later? Because the whole free agency and everything is what I'm.
I think it could happen. I think it could happen either way, but I think it's time to rebuild, man. And also, you got other like young pieces that are really good on that team, so I think you might as well do it now. Like, what could you add to really legit make them a title contender?
You can't. And Jeremy Grant's a free agent, so it's like.
Yeah.
Or restricted, one of those, or player option, one of those.
Yeah. They need like 4 guys before they could start to think about being.
And then even with that, you got to build the chemistry with those 4 guys. So it won't be a championship this year; it'll be the next year, and you're still, slowing down the process of the rebuild. It's like.
But do you keep Simons?
Oh yeah, I keep Simons.
It's still pretty cheap, right?
Simons. But if you have let's say you trade Dame and then you draft Scoot, right? So you'll have Scoot and then Simons.
Simons is not. Simons is how tall is Simons?
6'5", 6'3". Okay, 6'3".
Well, he's listed at 6'3" on B-Ball Ref. I don't think he's
okay. And then he's probably 6'3". Then I thought he was 6'5".
I thought he was taller than that.
Forgive me. He's not that cheap at this point. He's next year he's making 24. Then he goes 25. Then he goes 27.6. So that's good money.
But it's like they have the same issue. They'll have the same issue potentially, right? A small backcourt who can't really defend. Like when are they going to make that shift to address the issues that plague them like the past 8-7 years, right? The point of attack.
I would try and get Jaylen Brown somehow.
Yeah, but
what'd you say?
That's tough.
Like, what about Jaylen Brown for Anthony Simons?
I would need. I mean, Anthony Simons, and you throw in like a Cam Reddish and a pick.
Okay.
For Jaylen, right?
I mean, I guess right because Jaylen's a superstar,
all NBA.
How about that? How about Jaylen and Dame though? Is there any way you get Jaylen? I know I was the one saying that you should definitely rebuild, but I'm just thinking about it. It doesn't sound too bad actually.
Jaylen and Dame, and then you need at least one more piece.
Yeah.
I
mean, Simons has got a better handle than Brown, doesn't he?
He does, and he's such a great shooter too. But I feel like the Celtics need a constant. They need a guy who has rim pressure. They don't have one.
Who, Blazers?
No, the Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics?
Yeah. They don't have anyone who puts pressure on the rim. Who gets downhill?
When they upgrade Marcus Smart, then maybe they'll find it there.
Brogdon puts pressure on the rim in the half court.
He does, but he doesn't beat his man as.
He's
as
crafty.
much as I'd like.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
he
like
is crafty.
it's like the
Brogdon.
Jalen Brunson type pressure on the rim.
Yeah, but Brogdon has a little bit better footwork at drawing fouls, so his rim pressure is a little different, in a sense.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, DTG. Great question. Way to like get us out of the box a little bit here and talk about some other stuff. Let's get to the last couple here before it's late for you guys. But JaMychal Green is back. Another interesting bit. This is the 2022-23 season. Zion is 22 and Ja is 23. For the 23-24 season, who's having the better offseason? I don't know. That's
Wait, what's the question?
I don't think there's a question here. I think there's just some fun numbers. But we have to figure out who's 23, who's 24 next year. I don't know. It's too much for me. But JaMychal, thank you so much for being.
They're both having some pretty bad off seasons. I don't think anyone's having a better off season.
Right. But huge. That's big. Thank you so much, JaMychal. And then good luck. Oh, I wonder, is JaMychal Green signed? He might be a free agent, right?
But the Knicks would trade RJ for Zion right away, right?
Yes.
I might do that.
Even with all this, I think it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be RJ and.
Well, I was trying to say, with everything Zion going on with Zion, maybe it'll be straight up.
Oh, I see. or we have to talk about somebody who has only 2 letters in their first name. Is that the other thing? RJ? Is that why? Okay.
No, Duke. I was thinking Duke.
I think okay. I think we have the most fitting ending to the show is with this next super chat. I am Lobster. One more time. Wow. Thank you so much. We got 2 I am Lobsters. And I guess if you're the lobster, I'm the walrus, I suppose. I don't know.
Is this AI super chats or something?
Yeah, I don't know. We have to ask the AI later. Can you describe what the lobster is? Are you a red lobster? Are you anyway? Are you a rock lobster? Anyhow, thank you guys so much for being part of this. Everybody in the super chats, really, really just generous. Can't believe how nice you guys were to be part of our show and help us keep the lights on. Lobster, as always, great to have you here too and announcing your presence with authority. Anything else you guys want to push before we go? All right. Well,
subscribe to B-Ball Breakdown. And
a lot of you have. It's been a good month for subscriptions, so that's been nice. Watch the show tomorrow, please. The video tomorrow. As soon as I get it done, I'm not even sure what I'm going to do. Tell me, what should the video spotlight tomorrow? I want to do something that no one else is talking about, but we probably talked about it.
Bruce, Denver's cutting.
Denver's cutting. That's interesting.
Denver's mid-finals trade.
Do you think it's one game, or do I have to go cutting all the way through the whole series? Probably all 4 games.
Yeah, I think the last 2 games they're cutting has been really good, though.
Maybe Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown video.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon, because you know what? We have a couple days. I might be able to do another video like on Sunday or something. Okay.
I actually think Gordon's hands are like amazing. I think he could be a tight end.
I was thinking about that today. I mean, Aaron Gordon was destined to be a pro athlete in some sport. Right?
Yeah, he could definitely be a tight end, be like a Tony Gonzalez. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
So, okay, that's interesting because, I always like hyper-focused videos that are, I could, just get my 20 clips and just focus on that. So that might be something I can do. All right, well, maybe I'll do that because then I guess if I just focus only on Denver for one, or do I have to? Well, okay, let's just pretend I did the cutting for Denver. Do I got to do, what would the one thing I could do for the Heat?
Ball pressure.
Jimmy's post touches.
Post touches.
Their transition defense.
I've already done the thing where they keep doubling Murray, which is a mistake. I don't want to do that again. But all right, well, we'll think about that. We'll be, if you think of anything else, let me know. But again, thanks everybody for being out there. Great.
I got it. Jimmy's movement patterns from before the injury till after.
Ooh, interesting. I'll write that down. Like to prove that he is really injured.
Maybe something is going on, right?
Here's the problem. That sounds like a bit of a rabbit hole. And I always kick myself when I end up going back to other series, and then I'm watching 100 clips of something, and then I think I see something, and I spend another 400 clips to try and find it. It's not there, and then next thing you know, it's 5 hours later, and I haven't gotten anything done. But that is my life. In case you didn't think I worked very hard, that's what I do. a lot of the time. And I've had a lot of days this season, for some reason, this particular season, where I just lost a day, where I spent 5 hours spinning my wheels trying to find something that just wasn't there, and I had to give it up. So can't afford that right now. I got too many things, too many videos I got to get done. But anyway, at the very least, the cutting thing I like. That I like. I can get into. I can talk about the triangle offense influence. Maybe that's part of it. Yeah. But anyway, thanks guys for being here as always. Thanks everybody for super chats, and thanks everyone for just being part of the show. All these people. So don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in? You in, guys?
Yes, sir.
I'm in.